I'm going to bring on the stage a speaker that, as I said before, we come about these in different ways. And as a podcaster over the last few years, at the, I would say the push and the drive by other people here at Gym Supply, I never thought I'd be a podcast host. But over now, we're getting in the 6th year, I come in across several different people. And I came across this person that had a podcast called Stranger Connections. And I'm like, I'm interested in that. So I listened to a few of them. And the thing about it is we all have to get outside of our box once in a while. And she pulled me outside of my box. And I won't tell you what came out of it. You're going to have to listen to that. If you go to her booth, you'll see the link to her podcast channel. Just look mine up and find out. Now I'm going to give you a clue. We came up with a phrase from spit to, and you're going to have to fill in the rest by listening to her podcast. She is a humorist. She's also a TEDx speaker. She has several books that she's authored, and she is from La Crosse, Wisconsin. I'd like to welcome to the stage LisaDavidOlson. Her talk is Connecting Through Story Sharing. Lisa?
Thank you, Dave. Yes, having you on my podcast was a thrill. It was just amazing time because that is my goal, is to get people out of their basic bio. And I want to go down the trail. I want to go off to the side. If I want to learn what you do for a living and what car you drive, I can probably look at a website, right? But my passion is connecting through humor. And secondly, connecting through story sharing. And I don't mean storytelling as much as that's amazing as well, but I want to share. I want to tell you about me. I want to learn about you. So one instance, an example is during the pandemic, we all found our pause and we were all scared collectively. Seeing someone out jogging, you'd wave. You don't do that on an average day, but oh my gosh, there's a person out. One of the things I figured out was when I was at the grocery store, the cashier says, "How are you?" You say, "Good." Then you return our "How are you?" And they say, "Good." That's bunk. There's nothing to that conversation. It's just our basic politeness, especially myself in the Midwest. We're Midwest nice. I started saying, "What are you doing for fun?" And now that becomes story sharing. I learned from one person at a natural foods place that I go to. He's a 6'4" tie-dye shirt wearing, huge dreadlock pile in his head. And I looked up at him and I said, "What are you doing for fun?" And he became small and light and happy as he showed me his phone. He said, "I'm fostering kittens. Look at these kittens." And I saw this whole other side of him because I asked a personal question: what are you doing for fun? Not how are you good? How are you good? And now we're connected because I certainly go there a lot. Another person I asked that to told me how she was in a dance troupe and how even through the pandemic, wearing a mask and separated, they were still able to meet. And look at the appreciation in that, the appreciation that we've all grown to find. The little things are really the big things. As a business humorist, that's what I yearn to find out. What are the little things in your story? Are you sharing that on your media? Are you just checking in with people in general? Because LinkedIn is a really wacky place to be. I share things on LinkedIn and I can see how many views there are. There's a few likes. So it is. When people get on there and then connect with you and then immediately jump to Messenger and pitch you something. "Hey, you should check out my coaching program." Why? You don't even know about me. Or somebody will cold call me and say, "Hey, you're a podcaster. I can help you get more likes." Okay, I usually answer, "What episode is your favorite?" If you're going to try and connect with someone through sales, there's no harm in that. That is how many of us make a living. But are you doing a little bit of homework to find out their story? Are you asking them about their story? Maybe you'd look at their website and it turns out they have an RV. Maybe you would say, hey, what is it like to camp? Or are you doing that year round? Ask something to connect. It's amazing how that works. It's very helpful. Connecting through humor is another way to learn about each other. And I really appreciate clean humor. I'm no prude. I have 5 sons and I work with police officers during the day. Trust me, I have a different side. But when I am on a corporate stage and when I'm in the public, I am corporate clean. And there is such a beautiful connection that we can get through humor. It is Humor Month, by the way. That's why I'm thrilled to be here in Dave's arena. Humor is a connector, no matter your gender, your age, no matter your ethnicity, your language. If we were standing at a bus stop and somebody went rolling by on a unicycle, playing a harmonica, throwing flowers at us, whatever you can imagine, we are going to laugh. We are going to connect. It's just going to be this moment of levity. And that in itself is magical. We've just connected without any words. But then the next thing happens. And that's when our next interaction is full of joy. It's the ripple effect of lightness. Our adrenaline is flowing. Our natural serotonin is released. Our blood pressure is lowered, all from that moment, that connection. And we pass that along to the bus driver that's picking us up, and perhaps whomever we're sitting next to on the bus. There is a connectivity and a ripple effect of humor. I have a passion for harmless pranks. I do. Whether I'm at the police department by day, whether it's playing with my adult sons, it doesn't matter. My husband is patient and tolerant. Thank you, Todd. I love pranks. I think there's a joy in that. And if I hide in a closet for 20 minutes knowing you're going to pass by and I jump out at you, you're welcome, because I gave you this fresh burst of adrenaline. It's affordable fun. Nobody got hurt. And hey, sometimes it's just for me. When I was married the first round, we used to have this machine that would record incoming and outgoing phone calls. And our passion, because we worked separate hours, was to record telemarketer calls. And this is back in the day where it was real people calling you. And so that became this game for my first husband and I, back and forth. We would record and play with telemarketers. So stick around. I'm going to play a 2-minute call for you towards the end here. I want to talk about creative thinking. I've written a journal that has all the tips from my improv life. I've been a performer for 2 decades, a speaker for 2 decades. And yes, I got to land 2 TEDx talks last year. So if you ever need information on that, reach out to me. I love sharing that. We all have a story. We all have books in us. Creative thinking is taking 2 unlikely ideas put together into one new idea. And my favorite example, Reese's peanut butter cups. Somebody thought about chocolate and peanut butter, and I thank that person very much. But why not look at your marketing and your story and how you reach your audience as grabbing 2 ideas and put them together? Maybe your passion is knitting and it has nothing to do with selling vacuum systems, right? How can you put those together and make a live video, a silly TikTok video, or just talk about it, or make a knitting cozy for your vacuum system, right? Why not? Why not do the thing that makes people look twice? Because we are in a scroll past world. Most people are on their toilets and they're looking and they don't care. But if you grab them, if they all of a sudden see Dave knitting and making a cozy for his equipment, I'm pretty sure somebody's going to stop and make a comment. But are you also that supporter of other people commenting, liking, and networking with those around you? We need that. We need that. And the more that you support others, you will find that comes back to you. So keep your humor in things when it's appropriate humor. Include others in your humor. Be listening. Use the improv method of yes and. Listen to who you're speaking to. Build on that and let them know you heard them, and ask a follow-up question. Make sure that you're doing more listening than talking. Take care of your partner. That's what I have to do on stage. If somebody's in a scene with me, I have to make sure that we're connected in the scene. Make sure you're making your partner look good, whether that's your boss, your kid, your life partner. It doesn't matter. Make them feel heard. Make them feel good. Let them be listen to and ask them, what are you doing for fun? That's important. In this call, you're going to find out that this is a person in the cubby world, and he's repeating everything I say to those around him.
Hello? What's going on behalf of NRA? Is Thompson there?
No, I haven't seen him for like 2 days.
You haven't seen him for 2 days?
No, he said, I can go get the spaghetti sauce, and then...
He's what?
He says...
He's out?
He said, no, I'm trying to tell you. He goes, I can get the spaghetti sauce. I'll be right back, and it's been 2 days.
He did what now? What was that again?
He went out to get the spaghetti sauce.
He went out to get spaghetti sauce and he hasn't come home for 2 days?
Right.
Wow.
Do you know where he's at?
No, I don't. I'm calling on behalf of the NRA. I don't know where he's at.
The NRA, is he in trouble?
No.
He's in trouble?
No, he's not in trouble, ma'am. No.
Are you an officer?
No, I'm not an officer.
Okay.
And I'm not an officer. No, this is a call for membership in the National Rifle Association.
Membership? He doesn't remember anything, especially where he lives. He's been gone 2 days.
Okay, well...
No.
I'm sorry. I can let you go, okay, ma'am?
If you see him, would you have him call me?
Yeah, okay, if I see him, I'll have him call you.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Bye now.
Thanks.
So that went from a phone call trying to make a sale to now he's going to help me find my husband who's been missing for 2 days when he went out for pasta sauce. That's fun. That's affordable fun. And they called me, and it was probably my dinner time, so that makes it okay. I don't make outgoing prank calls because I'm classy. So have a strategic meeting with yourself. Write down, what is my goal? Maybe your goal is to grow your online audience. What is your creative plan and your action ideas? So you can make a list. What's my creative plan? Okay, I'm going to do more Facebook Lives. I'm going to reach out to other people. I'm going to be on some podcasts. I'm going to do more online summits like Dave's. Then what is one single action that you can do today? So you've written down your goal, a few creative ideas. What is my action plan? And then the next step, celebrate. Because once you take an action plan, celebrate. Have a dance party. Eat an ice cream cone. Do your neighbor's laundry. Whatever makes you happy, go out and do that thing. We get one spin on this blue and green marble. Whatever you think is out there afterwards. This is your shot in this current realm that you're in. So do the things. Be bold. Be brave. And dare yourself daily. Thank you so much for having me on, Dave. I am LisaDavidOlson, and I have some things in my booth, my telemarketer calls. I've got a book and a journal and a couple TEDx's, and I'd love to chat with you. So reach out. Thank you so much.
Now, Lisa, I'm not going to let you get off the stage quite so easily. Because, the interesting thing about it is our time on the podcast was quite, well, I should say out of my box. And I think this goes back to, what was that thing I told you that I'm not when you asked me to get on there?
That you are not. Let's see, you're not a dancer. I remember that.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Well, I know you're not shy.
But I'm not generally a funny person.
That's what you said. You said you were hesitant because you were afraid that you weren't going to be funny on the show. Yeah,
and I think that's kind of the thing. And I know that we're in a serious conference today, ladies and gentlemen, but I think one of the reasons why I wanted Lisa to come on is I think this is the part of what we all get into. We just get into the business side so intently that we forget about what you're talking about.
Right. We have to include the lighter side because we're drawn to that. One of the things I adore is less headlines, more punchlines. We need the levity because if we're just going to be down and in the dark, that also is a ripple effect and nobody would want to be around you.
Now, I think one of the interesting things, ladies and gentlemen, that you may have not really picked up there because we just came back from lunch and you're kind of getting back into listening to a speaker talk. But did you hear the fact what she does? She's around police officers all day. let's tell the people a little bit about, I mean, you talk about serious stuff and having to go to humor. I mean, how do you go from one to the other?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And every day is adrenaline. I have to wear a light shirt and then something warm, because there could be times I'm running around to help people, and there could be times I'm just freezing at my desk. So that shows the difference of always being ready. And whether you're at a police department or in your home office, you really are doing the same. You just might not have somebody at the back door who, just found a needle in the road or is missing their kid. Generally, people aren't reaching out to the PD because they want to share cookies or a happy story. It's definitely the downside. And I've decided to put up my personal wall that it's not about me. I don't need to take on their feelings and their issues, but I am a helpful person by the way I am, as most of us are. And if I can make that day brighter with a jolt of something bright or happy and appropriate, it doesn't always need to be happy or funny, but just to be there. And the main thing I've learned is to listen.
What do you do before you walk in the door at home to leave one thing behind? I mean, carrying the police department home probably isn't a good thing.
That is extremely perceptive of you. I honestly sit in my driveway. My boys saw that the other day when they stopped by. I sit in my driveway and I reset. And it's the same thing I would do before a performance. Any issues I had, the backpack we all carry around is hung outside the door, and I would physically touch the outside of the theater door. And that says that stuff stays out there. The theater doesn't deserve the personal crap that I might be hauling around. So you leave your backpack out there and start fresh. A deep breath. It's a lot of cleansing breaths and resetting. Having a mantra is superbly important, and yoga has reset me in that. Just my recent yoga class, she said, "What is your mantra today?" And I was like, "Oh, I forgot to set my mantra." That's a really important thing. And it doesn't have to be spiritual or anything. It can just be, what's my next best thought?
Folks, the reason I wanted to have this conversation after Lisa's pep talk is to give you a little bit of chance to kind of get back into the whole message that we're here for today. But, I think that's very interesting, Lisa, because I've been in sales in the Jam 12 profession for most of my life. And I always said, the next customer doesn't want me to carry in baggage from the last customer. And I think this is, as a professional salesperson, one of the hardest things to do is to leave that baggage, as you said, take the backpack off from the last one, because the next client, if you don't have an open mind, if you're not ready and not receptive, you won't be listening right. Lisa, thank you for your time this afternoon.